All right, let's play a low game. Here we go. What am I drinking? Go ahead. Put your bets in chat. What is Patrick drinking? No joke, though, I love the way Pine Sol smells. Oh my gosh.
Okay, now let's play another game. This game is called What is Andrew Eating? All right. It could be anything.
All right. Andrew, are you eating Nutter Butters?
No. But if you guessed corn dog nuggets, you are absolutely right.
What is a corn dog nugget?
Obviously, Andrew's favorite snack. That
It's not, but you know whose favorite snack it is? I'm going to give you one guess.
What your favorite snack is?
No, do you know whose favorite snack
To be clear, it
is?
should be a child's, so it should be Cooper's.
It's not
But I
Cooper's.
kind of feel like it's Becca's.
It's Super Becca's, yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
she emulated one of her favorite meals from Disney tonight, which is from Casey's Corner, which is chili cheese fries and corn dog nuggets. And I told her that I was just gonna have to poop halfway through this episode. So
Now I'm hungry.
to which she replied, "Well, can't you just do that in the shower?" There's a little insight into what's going on over in this side of the.
Cannot poop in the shower.
This
That's
side
not
I have
okay.
a story, but I don't want to tell it. So I am not drinking, what do we say, Pine Sol?
Mm-hmm.
And it is not Mountain Dew Topo Chico Blast, but it is an HEB grapefruit sparkling water. One of my favorite.
I am drinking a Topo
Non-sweetened.
Chico.
These are like the hardest things possible to guess. Like
I am drinking a Topo Chico Margarita hard seltzer, tropical pineapple. So
I'm having some water.
Are you saying this about me or about Andrew?
Andrew's the one who said that he might poop in the shower.
no, I didn't. I said Becca wants me to.
You should not do it. That's my advice.
Haven't
These are
you
things
heard
that
the
you-
saying, like, don't bathe where you poop?
We're officially a month and some change into being married, and
You're already ready to poop in front of each other.
no, she just wants me to poop in the shower. Now
She
she's
put
back.
want.
Yeah, not want.
Mountain Dew Spark got a sketch card deadline finish. Is this another Hero Complex Gallery sketch card show? Is that what this is?
No, probably not. Kate does regular sketch cards for like
For
Star Wars
like
and stuff.
yeah, she did.
Oh.
She did some of the Space Jam ones too that I got to be a part of.
Kreider Designs, thank you for the 25 months. Hello, everyone. Jedi Robbie's 23 months. Looks like you guys fixed those technical difficulties. Probably. You would think that we haven't, but fun solution. We do have a fix on the way. It's just that we have 2 weeks to implement it, and we will inevitably wait until the deadline. But we do have a really fun fix on the way, which is that we're just building our complete own
Our
streaming
own
platform.
Streaming platform.
I'm excited to demo that once that happens. That'll be really fun. But that's our solve.
And then
is just
we
do it the way
will-
we want it.
And then we can, once we've built it, we can sell it to charities.
Yeah, we will only demand money from charities and nonprofits. So that's how it's gonna work. No upper deck for Marvel. Is this still about Andrew in the shower?
Yeah, this is about upper. Patrick, were you the one? Somebody in
Mackenzie
my life.
didn't know what an upper deck was. Is that what you're asking? An upper decker?
I do need to know. Was it you, Patrick, who introduced me to the phrase waffle stomping?
So
That means yes. That means that you did.
I think it probably was. It comes from one of those.
Is it like, wait,
old,
can I
like-
guess before you say it?
Sure.
You
Yes,
like
please. Good
stomp
Lord,
someone
yes.
so hard that you leave your shoe prints in them like a waffle, like
Oh no, you could not be further from the truth.
No, you push poop down the drain by
In
stomping
the
it
shower, so
through
you
the
poop and then you
grate.
press it through the drain, so it.
How do you guys know so much about this? This should not ever be an option, ever. I'm serious. Like, you should never do this.
To be clear, though,
It's not
hang
what
on.
showers are for.
Hang on. To be clear, it actually should be called the Play-Doh Fun Factory. Is what
Ohio.
it should be called. It shouldn't be called waffle stomping.
I saw it on like one of those like old like classic Reddit threads. Like what were the ones like was it chili soap? I don't remember. Just the old threads. It was one of those.
I kind of gotta feel like if anyone's upset about the topic thread that we're going through, we should just blame it on Becca for chili cheese fries and corn dog nuggets. That's what got us into this mess, both
It's
literally
so
and
funny.
metaphorically. Okay,
That's so funny.
are
Just
we ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember how to pronounce it still?
Elan.
Elan. Yeah.
Okay, I already forgot. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like-
we're ready to go.
like
I know.
Elon
I'm
Musk.
good. I
Yeah.
feel
Elon Musk.
prepared.
Okay, great. Then let's clap. 3 and 2 and 1 and. That was very good, everybody.
Like old times.
At least on my side, that was really well timed.
Oh, well, that makes one of
beard.
us.
Am I
have a
still
lot of
delayed?
beard hair.
Because I have
Look
like
at
new
this.
internet set up, and the router's like right there.
I don't think you're delayed.
Nice.
That took like 10 seconds for you to respond to, but I mean, that is... Okay, here we go. Here we go. I should read the script. There it is. That's why I wrote it. Welcome to episode 544 of the Pop Culture Roundtable, the podcast that's still questioning what exactly Tay Swift sees in that boy. In this episode, we talk about Stick the Landing, Apple Vision Pro, and Elon Musk. Nope.
That's funny.
I did that to myself.
That
I
was
did that to myself. Dang it. Okay, let's try that again. In this episode, we talk about Stick the Landing, Apple Vision Pro, and Elan.School. Nope, it's the Elan.School, right?
Yeah, the Elan.School.
Okay, here we go. Blah, 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 blah. In this episode, we talk about Stick the Landing, Apple Vision Pro, and the Elan.School. I'm Andrew Sale.
I'm Lauren Rubin.
I'm Patrick Hill.
So sit down, chill out, and keep your Viva Las Vegases to yourself, because it's time for another episode.
Did you see how many punts were in that game last night? This is only for Mackenzie because she was
Yeah.
calling every single play a punt, regardless of what happened on the field.
Or was that an interception? That's for the two.
But those are the only two things that happened the entire
Who
game.
needed more
from
explanation of the
Mackenzie's
Super Bowl,
standpoint.
Mackenzie or Ice Spice?
It was punts and interceptions, and that was it. There were like 30 of each.
Oh man. Okay. Whew. We like to kick off every episode by going around the table, which is where we talk about things that are new, fun, and noteworthy about our weeks. Patrick, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, I have purposely waited to give an update because you, I know what you want from me, and I wanted to save it. So I had jury duty today, and the last time I had jury duty was 10 years ago, maybe.
I
something
thought
like that.
jury duty was tomorrow for you.
was today.
If I knew it was
expected
today, I
you
would
to
have
text
texted
me.
you this morning.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. And then I was going to text you, and I was like, no, he hasn't talked to me. I'll wait for the podcast.
Dang it.
So
thought
I
it was
had jury
tomorrow.
duty
I had a whole plan.
today.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh.
And last time I had it was like a decade ago. And I'm not keen on going. It's not that, like, I'm fine to do my civic duty. I don't have an issue with that. I don't want to do it if I don't,
I don't
have
think
to.
anyone's. Very few people
If
are
he's-
like, "Yay, I got jury
If he's
duty."
I absolutely am.
I feel like I'm surrounded by them.
You want to do your civic duty, but you want to do it in the shower.
The thing is, Andrew wants to do.
I think we have to call
There's
this
no
episode
context.
waffle
I'm just
stomping.
walking. I'm just walking straight over that. Andrew wants to do jury duty. Mackenzie wants to do jury duty. JP wants to do jury
interesting.
duty. Patrick does not. So care about people. Not gonna do it. I don't want to do it. But I also am not gonna like purposefully. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna like try to whatever. So I'm like, whatever happens, happens. Okay. So while I was nope, I was reading "Do You Do Your Civic Duty in the Shower" and got fully distracted. Sorry. So I went this morning, sat through. There's like 100 people there, and they said they have, I guess, more than normal because nobody had like called out from our pool. And so they said, we have the luxury this week of if you just say like, I have a busy week at work, I'll let you go. Like they were very clear of like, we have a lot of people, and by let you go, they weren't going to excuse it, but they said, we'll defer it. So they said, this case is probably going to be like a 1 or 2 day case. It's going to be really short. I'll defer it. If you just tell me, hey, second week of May is great for me, I'll defer it to second week of May. But he said, the problem is that could be a 4-week case you get put on. So the thing is like, that's the choice you have to make. But we have a lot of people. We have the luxury of saying, hey, if you're busy, that's fine. We'll defer it a few weeks.
Okay.
I decided, well, if I'm going to do it and I'm going to get chosen, I might as well do it on the 1 to 2 day case like that. Great. So that seems like, okay. So went through the whole process and didn't get my time deferred. And then, so initially they just do they call it a deselection process. So you start with a big pool and you whittle it down. So initially they just, for those that haven't participated yet, you show up, you check in, you sit in a big room with a bunch of people. Both sides are there, like I guess the prosecution, the defense, they're both there. The judge is there. And then they do this in chunks. So like the first chunk is, can you legally serve? So they go through some questions, and some people might get deselected during that process. Once they go through those questions, and you're not allowed to know the case at that part. And then for the people that decide to defer, they're not allowed to hear the case. You don't get to make that decision at that, like based on that. Like you have to wait. So they do don't qualify. Then they do those that want to defer. After that, okay, now we have our jury pool. You're given a number. I was given a number. And
What number were you?
9. And they basically say, like, if we were to make the jury right now, and you're in the first group, like the first 12, like
12, yep.
you're the one going up. So like they told us like, hey, this group over here, pointing to me, like you're in the hot seat. Now they were funny too, because they were like, just so you know, if you don't want to do this, the best thing you can do is talk and answer questions. Because if an attorney doesn't like you, they'll ask to have you like stricken.
Yep,
so the best thing you can do, the judge was basically like, the quiet people are the ones that have to serve. So, but I was number 9.
That's funny.
Out of like the 67 people that were left, I'm in the hot seat. So, anyway, then at that point, the both sides basically get to ask questions and like explain things to the jury. And part of this process is for them to decide who they don't want on the jury because they think it'll be bad for them. And so I told myself mentally, I'm talking way too long about this, and I'll probably cut most or all this out. But I told myself mentally, like, I'm just going to answer the questions, whatever they are. I'm not going to make anything up. And then what happens, happens.
Yeah. That's the advice I gave you.
Yes. Now, one of the questions they showed, because of what the case is, and I won't go into anything about the case, but because of what it was, they felt that your feelings about law enforcement were pertinent. And so they put up a list of topics. So like phrases like defund the police, things like that. Okay. And it was probably 12 topics. And they said, like, is anyone
Probably all
in here?
hashtags, right?
Basically. And they were like, is anyone in here familiar with any of these phrases? And I am, so cool. Here's juror number 9. And then the next question was, does anyone in here agree with any of these phrases? And there was at least one thing on that list I do agree with, and so put it up. Number 1, I was one of only 2 people out of 70 that said yes to this question. And number 2, I'm pretty sure the lady behind me audibly gasped when I put my number up. So maybe this was the wrong room for it.
But you were doing this in New Braunfels, Texas, right? Where we've already established is like uber red, super politically red, and then also an extreme version of that. Yeah. Like they are activist style red. So like it makes a ton of sense that you would be you would not be the majority in that.
And the thing is, nobody of the 12 things on the screen, nobody knows which one it was for. They didn't ask me any follow-up questions. It's just a yes, no. Hey, there's something on there that I know what it means, and I agree with it to some degree. Mm-hmm. So that was it. So then we go through the rest of that, break for lunch, come back, and after lunch, defense does the same thing. Defense always goes last. And in this case, what I realized they were doing is they were going through a stack of people, and obviously it's the whole 70, but they were only questioning specific people. And what I realized they were doing is they were only I think what they were doing is specifically questioning the people that the prosecution liked, because the idea is if you have consensus on jurors, then that's the jury that will get selected.
Right.
I never got any follow-up questions. And so I was pretty confident, I'm not going to get selected in this, but it still took another couple hours.
You had an opinion.
I know. It still took another couple hours. I didn't get out of there till after 4 o'clock. I think it was 5 after or something. But we all went in one last time, and then they officially say, these are the 12, and you come up and you sit down in the box. And I was just counting down, and they got through all 12, didn't say my name, got to go home, and that was that. So I'm done. I'm officially excused. Jury duty's over. I have done my civic duty, and I guess my personal thoughts are too raw to be effective. So that's what it is.
So that means for when I did it, I was in the very back half of the pool. And I think I was the last one or the second to last one for them to call my name, and I was like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm not getting called or whatever." And then they said my name, and I was like, "Oh," and it's weird. You hear it, and then you're like, "That's me." It takes you a second because you've disassociated with this number, and you forget your name, you forget your number, you forget all these things, and then you come back to reality, you snap back into it. But they do say all of that same stuff to us, but it's absolutely hilarious that the defense, even if they wanted you in there, even if they wanted you to be part of this thing, they knew because each side gets a certain number. They get 5 or 7 or something like that they get the automatic power of veto where they can say, I absolutely don't want this person. X number of those. So the defense lost cause, even if they wanted you in there. The prosecution wasn't going to allow it to happen, and so I think that's really that they just were like, okay, well, we're done with him.
Yeah, and I get it, and I think, and it's funny because thinking back on it, I think my job position would affect it. There's a lot of things that affect whether or not someone thinks that you're going to be good for their side, And hey, I get it, I totally get it. I'm ultimately. It's this weird feeling where hey, I'm glad I don't have to go in tomorrow. It's done. But I was fine. Once I got in and you meet the bailiff and you meet the judge and you hear people talk, it's a very comfortable thing. It was a weirdly relaxed environment, people cracking jokes and stuff. I'm sure tomorrow will be different because tomorrow it all starts. But
it gets serious,
it'll get more serious. But all that said, mentally I was in the place of, yeah, I'm happy to do this. I'm fine too. It doesn't bother me and all that stuff. And so one hand, don't have to. And on the other hand, I was totally prepared and maybe in some ways kind of bummed to not see how it all resolves. But
so that is kind of where I was going to go. Even if let's say you didn't get picked, right? But you didn't you didn't make something up. You didn't try to skirt the system. You didn't try avoid your responsibility. You just answered in the room based on the case that was being presented, all of that stuff. You did everything you could do to be upfront and honest. So you can walk away from this knowing I did my civic duty. Whereas you know that there's a whole number of people who were in that room with you who can't walk away from today saying that. Now, those people tend to probably not have terribly high opinions of a conscience or any, there tends to be like a moral gray zone for this kind of thing for whatever reason. But at least you know that you can walk away going, I actively did my civic duty. I performed the thing to the best of my ability, and I just didn't get picked this time. And maybe next time you will get picked, and you'll have less anxiety leading into it.
Oh, yeah. Now, one thing that probably was good for me is, again, I told you I was like number 9 out of 70. I'm in the front of the room when all this is happening. So from that standpoint, I did not feel any of the social pressure of how I was answering, because you have I had like a little paddle, and you put your paddle up to when there's like group questions.
Yep.
Oh, so no one could see yours.
I could not see what anybody else was doing. Everyone's behind me, so
you were only answering for yourself.
Yeah, because it'd be one if you're in the back row and you see all the hands that go up, that might really affect if your hand goes up or not. But in my case, I couldn't see what anybody else was doing. So funny. I didn't realize that. I maybe didn't realize that was controversial in the moment. And then only afterwards, I was like, oh, okay. So because once people go, then the attorney will go through each person that raised their paddle and maybe follow up a question. Yeah. It was me and one other person. And I was like,
just the two of you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's
gotcha.
Funny.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that, but sure.
I've actually never been picked for jury duty. Like every time that I've been summoned, I was ready to go, but I either the first time they told me I got to the courthouse and they said that they had too many people already, I don't know, in the list, so they're like, we want all you guys to go home. The next time was during COVID, so they canceled it. And then the most recent time, I got a text that morning as I was putting on my shoes to go that it was oh, we've already settled out of court, so we're good.
I honestly they were talking about settling when I went in and sat down. You could hear the attorneys talking to the judge going back and forth. And I was like, yeah, let's settle this now, guys. Let's just not even get started. But that was not the case. But yeah, that's the thing. Literally, the judge said it. Both of the attorneys said it. If you don't want to get picked, you need to talk. You have to speak up. You have to put out opinions. That's the most surefire way of getting removed, because if you put up an opinion, you're more likely to not fall on one side or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I am looking forward Thursday. So if you're watching this right now, in just a couple of days, to when I have jury duty, and I hope I have a different story.
I thought yours was on Wednesday.
No, Wednesday's
confusing
Valentine's
each other's jury duties.
We are. Well, here's what I messed it up, because I remember when he told me his date, I said yours is 2 days after mine.
Yes.
So you've been thinking 2 days before, which would be Tuesday, and clearly it should have been 3 days. So I feel confident that I messed this up.
I knew that's what had happened, but I wasn't going to say anything.
It's fine. See, look how logical I am. I could have brought that to the jury.
You could have.
Not anymore.
But you know what? You gave it your best shot, and they went with someone else. Probably someone shorter and more petite with a better hairline or something.
I only got asked my height 3 times today.
That's actually less than when you just stay home and work all day.
Here's what was surprising. One of the people that asked me my height was sitting. They were sitting down, and I don't know. That shouldn't surprise me, but typically.
Well, then you look extra tall.
When you're standing up, then you know the height difference. But when you're sitting, how can you judge it? I don't know.
I know what happened. I know exactly what happened. They wanted you to ask their height. They've been
that was the problem.
They have just started using lifts. They had a back adjustment or something, and they're feeling tall, and they wanted you to ask, and so they were doing the polite thing of doing the back.
That's hilarious.
You know what I'm saying?
It's such a good idea. I should, whenever someone asks me my height, I should follow up and ask their height.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
That's funny. Easy. Here's the deal. Outside of this Super Bowl, are any of y'all talking about what happened? What transpired at the Super Bowl?
No, we're
I
going
don't
to
have
talk
much
about it
to
right
say
now.
about the actual Super Bowl, but I was going to talk about trailers, so feel free to talk about the football part.
She's going to talk about trailers swiftly, and you can talk about Taylor swiftly.
No,
Yes.
I'm not going to, but I will say, based on my wife's reaction, Usher did a great job. So
I thought that was a great halftime show.
Based on your wife's reaction and my wife's reaction and the other wives in the room's reaction, Ludacris did a good job just showing up.
Yes, that
What
was
the-
awesome. Like it
Everybody
was so good.
lost their minds in the room. It was insane.
Well, he doesn't like perform anymore.
how many people got like too anxious when Usher was on roller skates?
The roller
Oh, I
skates.
loved that part. That was my favorite part. I was so
It was,
excited when
but,
they all
like,
came out on roller skates.
Any moment,
they were
I was
so
like, this
cool.
dude is gonna land on his face, and that's
I was
the rest
also
of his
wondering,
life. That's the
like-
rest of his life.
That is.
Yeah.
That's the Michael, or that's the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake moment. If he falls during that part, that's
Yeah,
the
it
moment
becomes
that
legendary in its own way.
He memes forever off of that one moment.
Yeah,
I thought that he actually did a really good job on skates also, which I will say, like he was doing some moves that are like not just simple like skating around
he
stuff.
went through
Like
that
he did
dude's
some,
legs.
Yeah, that was awesome.
He skated through someone's legs? How did I miss that?
Yeah, at the very end. Yeah.
This is the very last thing he did. He like went and like popped out between someone's legs.
I tried to do that during a derby game, like with permission from the other person, and like it was
clarification.
so hard.
Do they call that birthing? Is that the move called birthing?
You can't actually do it. This is just during a scrimmage. That would be like not a rule that's okay normally, but I wanted to try.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank
That
you.
dude
Yes,
was
I forgot who
Will.i.am.
it was. Yeah.
He's wearing a full face mask. Why would how would I
He was
know?
part of Daft Punk. That's what I saw. last night.
It did. It was totally more of a Daft Punk style.
I think when that was happening, was that when the stripper poles were happening? in the
That was
back?
also, I was going to say,
Oh,
the
was
other
that your
part that was really
distraction?
crazy was the like really high stripper poles. And those girls were like going up and down. Like it was crazy.
I don't know what you are talking about.
And the like 100 circus performers or whatever that were at the beginning.
If
like,
it
or
wasn't
1,000,
in Working
like,
Girl, he doesn't know what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Were they changing height?
Yeah,
they were, like, going
climbing
up and down on
the pole
these-
and spinning down it.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
They
Oh,
were
the
full
pole
on
wasn't
pole
changing
dancing.
height. They were going
No,
up and
they
down.
were going up and down. You know how pole dancers work, right, Patrick? I happen to know
I
for
do
a
not
fact
know
you
what-
know how pole dancers work.
I was so glued to Usher. This is during the roller skating?
It was right before, I think.
It's hard to say. It all
Yeah, I
kind of
don't
blurred
remember
together,
that well, but
honestly.
it was
Once
very
Ludacris
cool.
came on stage, it was all done for me. Everything turned.
Actually,
to,
I think it was
just
when Ludacris
melty.
came out because like he was walking through the hallway and the strippers were like on either side of him basically. It was amazing.
Well, I
Yeah,
only
I
have
think you're-
eyes for Luda. That's it. That's it. You're talking.
was cool.
Okay, commercials then, Lauren. What were your standouts?
I didn't really have a lot of commercials that stood out. I mean, I saw the like Michael Sarah
They
V one,
say
which
that
I
weird.
did think was hilarious, but I saw that way before
thought
the
so.
Super Bowl, so like it didn't really feel
Well,
like a
hang
Super
on.
Bowl commercial.
No, you didn't, because we talked about this. The Michael Sarah V commercial is a full commercial, like a full 3 minute.
Yeah, I
long
saw the
commercial.
whole thing on TikTok like a week ago.
I know, but the thing that they added for the Super Bowl commercial was that they showed a clip of that, and then it was him standing in front of the board of directors at Sarah V, and them saying like, "Yeah, we're not doing that." That was the
but
that was the Super Bowl piece. So I actually told Patrick hadn't seen the other one, and I said, "Go watch the full commercial," because they didn't show the full Michael
it was
Cera
so
commercial.
funny. Yeah.
In
haven't
it,
seen it
I
yet.
thought that was a very, very clever. That was a very clever one. For
Well,
sure.
it's so funny how so many of the commercials are a commercial for a commercial. Like all the movie ones are like, go watch the trailer because we're not going to pay $1 billion to show this minute long or 2.5 long trailer and stuff
Yeah.
during the Super Bowl. So it's just a 30-second trailer to go watch the trailer.
Yeah.
I did like the Dunkin' one. That was funny. That was a
Dunkin'
good
one was great.
commercial. Yeah.
I can-
To me, a lot of the commercials themselves didn't stand out, but of course, the movie trailers, like I was excited about beforehand. Like, oh, I feel like that's always like a fun thing. I was surprised there wasn't one for Dune, but I guess they're just like, we're gonna stop bothering to advertise. This movie has sold itself. But I thought Wicked was the one that I was like
Sure.
surprised by. I didn't know that was coming, and so I was really excited. And I've watched it a bunch of times already because like it's just the details and all the costumes and the backgrounds look so cool. Like I love the stage production, but I think that the movie looks like they've just taken that to the like 10 levels higher somehow. It looks really, really cool. The music snippets sound great. I love that Jeff Goldblum's going to be the wizard. Like I don't have
That was
any
great.
no bad things to say about this trailer. Pretty much, it was a great little teaser. I think.
Can I give my 2 cents on it, which is
Yeah.
witches.
Witches.
I was actually disappointed in it. I didn't like. I didn't. Now I'm reserving judgment. I'm gonna obviously see this. It's one of my top Broadway shows I've ever seen, and so I love it. I love the music and I love all that. I didn't love the choice that she did with the gravity, like defying gravity.
The
Like
run?
Yeah.
I
mean,
didn't like the run, and so
I'm waiting to see it in the movie.
I'm reserving judgment for total feelings. But when I watched it, I was like, oh, I don't love that choice. But if you remember, I had lots of feelings about Wonka for some of the choices they showed in the trailer for that, and I ended up loving Wonka. Like Wonka.
let me
was
go ahead
incredible.
and, because normally I disagree with your takes on this stuff, but I do want to affirm you that run feels like one of the signatures that you don't change.
I
It
did.
feels
I
like-
do kind of agree with that because it felt like, okay, you want to make your own mark on it. I get it. You didn't change it so much you don't recognize it, but it is like one of the, like, just that sound makes people think of the
it's
whole
like,
Wicked,
what's the quote
like the whole
in
rest of the song.
Spider-Man? Anytime there's a Spider-Man reboot, what's the quote you have to hear?
With
Go
great
get 'em,
power comes
Tiger.
great responsibility.
Exactly. It's like changing that quote. That's what the Coconut
I
Tiger
thought you
makes
were
me so unnecessarily angry. I hate that quote so much. But that's what I'm saying. Like,
so funny.
I think changing that run I think it's a mistake.
That was my feeling.
That's
And
one of
it's-
those things that they could change after hearing this feedback so easily.
Sure.
So like
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Sonic.
expect it to
Yeah,
to
think of it. Yeah,
ruin
think
the
of Sonic.
movie.
It looks beautiful. I love that Jeff Goldblum's in it. I do
all the
think
casting
that
is cool.
It's gonna
honestly.
be cool. But I did think of that and go, oh man, I don't want them to change the music. Like the music is the thing that's perfection. Like,
That's how
why
I
would
feel
you-
about the like Disney remakes. I'm like, stop changing the music. It's one of the best parts.
I
Just
feel a
don't
little
mess
bit
with it.
differently about that, but yeah. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. We're all excited to see it. We're gonna none of us are
Yeah,
gonna miss it on
even though
opening
it's two
weekend.
parts and all that other stuff. Like, I'm very excited for this movie. So I think that's part of why this trailer was so exciting. Is it? Like they've been talking about this movie for so long, but all of the like actual photos and production have been really, really kept secret. So actually getting to see something from it was very exciting, I think. Also excited to see Deadpool 3 commercial, or Deadpool versus Wolverine, or whatever they're calling it. That
It's called
was
Deadpool and Wolverine.
there you go. There you go. I was like, I knew it
Mhm.
wasn't exactly right. But yeah, that's an exciting trailer. I was laughing really hard. Like I was surprised how, I mean, they just feel like they slipped back into their groove so easily, and they found a way to bring it into the MCU that makes a lot of sense with the TVA and stuff. So I
Mhm.
think that's kind of a cool twist. Like this is, I think, like, honestly, just like cool. This seems like more of the Deadpool stuff that I like. The like kind of new X-Men teases seem interesting. Like, and who doesn't like Hugh Jackman? So that's an exciting one, I think, to get to see the trailer for. And I think that's the only Marvel movie coming out this year, right? So like, it was hilarious when he's like, "I'm Marvel Jesus," and, like, I got to save the franchise. I'm like, it's kind of true, but it's so Deadpool.
It's so self-effacing. It's so self-aware. Not just as a character, but as a franchise. And
Mhm.
I love that they are allowing him to do that. And if they didn't
Yeah.
allow him to do that, then
It
they
wouldn't
would-
work.
It
Yeah.
would be bad. Like it would.
The
it
fact
would
that
just
they
be
made a
bad.
Disney crack within the first 10 seconds of the trailer, I'm like, they're making all the right choices. This
Exactly.
is probably going to
Yeah.
be a home run.
Quick question. Help me out here because I do not know things. We've now seen 3 X-Men in between this film and the teaser from the last Marvel film. So what does this build towards?
The X-Men are officially in the universe.
But is this building towards like a specific storyline, a specific comic? So like, is this building towards something we know, or we just know that it's increasingly more part of it?
What's the Kang Dynasty thing?
Well, I think like that's the thing is like no one knows what's going on with Jonathan Majors. There's a lot of talk about maybe doing Doctor Doom, but like I don't, at least that I caught, I don't think there were any like teasers in this trailer that pointed to that. But they are doing more multiverse stuff. So if you want to just throw in the X-Men or whoever you want, you have a wide open door to do that.
Doctor Doom is confirmed because of Fantastic Four, which is already confirmed.
Okay, yeah, but, like,
they are
I mean,
building towards that, and
that's true,
instead
but-
of using Kang the Conqueror, they're switching to this other version that Doctor Doom can play the role in.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I've
Okay,
seen.
that's fair. Yeah. I just meant like they didn't show anything in the trailer that's like this is clearly what they're building
Oh,
towards
yeah.
now. It's
No,
all
no,
that I
no.
meant. Like I don't think there's a real answer that we know right now for that just because of what happened with Jonathan Majors.
There did seem to be a character that did kind of look reminiscently like Doctor Doom in the trailer, and I was like, "Oh, was that Doctor Doom?"
We have to mention also that they got Tom from Succession in Marvel. Yes, good
Yes, they
move.
do.
That
You
is
gotta.
very
You
exciting.
can't make a Tomlet without breaking a few Gregs, and
Hmm.
but I did see that and thought like, "Oh, that looked like Doctor Doom," but I've only seen the trailer once, so I was gonna go back and rewatch and see if there was
Yeah, and
something to
it's
lead to that.
this is something where they could easily like because they're literally going to just be like open a portal from another dimension and be like here Deadpool come hang out in the MCU. They can literally
Yes.
do the same thing with pretty much any character now. And like the
Mhm.
Fantastic Four and specifically Doctor Doom are characters who like mess with and build interdimensional portals all the time. So I feel
Yeah.
like literally it could just be like hey I'm here now and it like they can come up with some like comic book type explanation that will be fine and I don't have any problem with that personally.
Yeah. Something just to help us bring back continuity because of Jonathan Major's absence. Like something's gonna have to happen where it's just gonna be like a hard
Yeah.
stop. Like, oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's
but if
what.
you're gonna do the
Okay.
X-Men and Fantastic Four, you're literally introducing like so many new villains that you could that work as like a big
A
series
big
type of
bad.
villain that we could use. So I think there's plenty of opportunities to do something now.
Hear
Yeah.
me out. And I know this, I know it's multiverse and there's like infinite number of them and all that stuff, okay? But hear me out. Can we kill this guy now? Like Marvel has a problem, at least it's in the last few films, of like committing to any character's actual death. So can we kill Kang? Like, is that okay? Like,
I
can we
really
just-
hope so
Well,
because
let's
I
just
agree with
let's
you.
Kill
just
at least
kill-
a couple of them because there's supposed to be like so many versions anyway. So it's not really like the same as like
No,
this
brutally.
guy's dead and
Let's
gone
just
and staying there.
Kill him dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Murder.
That's because that was my main issue, and we talked about that, Patrick. Like that was my main issue with Guardians was that they couldn't commit to any actual deaths, which meant there were no stakes.
They did it in Quantumania as well.
They did it in Quantumania.
Would not. Yeah.
Like let someone die for the love of things feeling real and hearty and at stake.
I mean, just to be devil's advocate, like Iron Man had died like not that long ago, so like I don't know. There's some big
guy.
ones, but yeah, I know.
One guy in 45,000 hours worth of footage. We've got one guy who died.
I guess it's or a few like Gamora technically died. Like there's a couple.
Yeah, but
people
then
who
they brought her back.
I know. That's why I'm like, technically. Oh man,
I think
but
the
yeah,
only
I
Marvel
agree with you.
character
They
to
could do.
die-
I think that they should do more with at least with that with Kang. To me, it makes sense when like the whole premise is there are variants. Like kill as many as you want.
I agree. Let them fly. Let them fly.
Yeah. I'll just shout out a couple other ones real quick. Kate pointed out in chat Twisters. That's funny. I didn't even know that they were making a sequel to Twister, but that's a great movie, so that will be fun. Inside Out 2 had kind of like a slightly extended trailer where they kind of show the introduction of anxiety like in context instead of just like them being at the console. And I thought that was a really cool little intro, like when they show her playing hockey and it's like Joy is like being the announcer and like they're like, oh, now you got to get mad and be aggressive, and like it was very cute how they like brought you back up to speed. So that just looks like fun. And then Quiet Place Day One, that trailer looks great. Those movies are just like I think good fun action movies. Like they're just really fun like popcorn movies. Like I'm gonna go to a movie theater to see this big spectacle.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. Like I already didn't love the second one because John Krasinski wasn't in it, but he kind of was.
I was going to say, do you just not like it because John Krasinski's not there? I mean, I like the
100%.
idea. I love the idea of like having a disaster movie where you see it from different angles like they did in Cloverfield. Like, I think that's such a fun idea. So like, or 28 Days Later is kind of another thing like that where like you see the same like instance from different points in time or points of view. And I think that's kind of a cool idea. So I'm down for it. And I like Lupita Nyong'o and it just looks cool. Like I'm excited for it. Be a fun movie to go see. And then I just want to shout out one more thing because I think this is funny. There's a TV show coming out called Shogun, and they had a trailer for this, and it's really funny because like a couple weeks ago, my friend gave me the book for Shogun, and I've been reading it, and I didn't put it together that this is the same show that the book is what the show is based on at all, even though I've been reading it for a while. But like, I've saw the trailers like before I had the book, and then when I like saw this new one like during the Super Bowl, I was like, oh, that has to be the same thing, right? So I was like Googling it, and now I'm like, okay, that show is gonna be really good, you guys. Like, I'm not too far into the book. It's like a Game of Thrones type book that's like 1,000 pages, and I've read like 200, but like, it's gonna be a really good show. So, just want to kind of shout that out, put it on people's radars because like it wasn't on mine, and like I just started reading the book because my friend gave it to me, and I was like, wow, this is gonna be really an exciting show, I think. And then the very, very last thing I will talk about, and this is just like personal thing. This has nothing to do with the Super Bowl. Game Changer comes back tonight, so very, very, very excited for that.
Hey!
That's what I'll be doing after the show.
Yes. I haven't started junior year yet, so I'm still
Ooh.
behind because of all the moving and everything. So I'm hopefully in the next like couple of weeks we'll be fine.
Yeah, let me know when you catch up because that's like what I put on while I'm setting things up and moving. So that's just been like awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So on the topic of movies and TV and things, I did go see a movie this week, which is the first time I've sat in a movie theater and feels like forever. And I went and saw Argyle.
I'm so sorry.
And let me tell you, the first 80% of this movie, I thought Patrick's review was wrong. It was creative. It was fun. It was different. The way that they shot it, the way that they told the story, was so unique and innovative. It felt like and fast paced, and the acting was good. So I was like, I'm totally. And then the last 20% of this movie unraveled all of that. They should have just stopped. They should have just edited the movie down, cut this last part out. It didn't need it. And it just went over the top. It's like the two films that come to mind. One is obviously the film that goes over the top, oh my gosh, the freaking I did a thumbs up in it. I was doing a 1 and it gave me a thumbs up. The one film that I always talk about is Sorry to Bother You. That movie jumped the shark unnecessarily.
The horse, but sure.
It jumped the horse unnecessarily. And then the other movie, which is from the same director as this movie and writer and director or whatever, was The Kingsman. When all the heads started exploding at the end, it was like, what the heck is that? Why?
That part was great, but continue.
That part was so unnecessary. It was stupid. And this movie had probably the equivalent to like 3 or 4 head explosion scenes at the end. That it was just like, oh my gosh, can we just end this, please? And then they did a little like stinger at the end for what seems to be maybe a series that's going to be coming out on Apple TV. This was an Apple TV.
That makes sense because they were advertising this movie like it was the next biggest thing on earth.
It's like it's a franchise, and that's very much seemingly at least what the idea was behind this movie. So I totally wrong and was so excited to come in and tell everybody like, no, go see this movie. And then I got to the end of it and I was like, oh my gosh, what? I should have left. When I got up to go to the bathroom, I should have just stayed gone and it would have been fine.
So
I would have been like,
your cinema score would have changed from the first 80% to the last 20%.
Right, which is kind of the whole point of a cinema score, right? Like, is to identify after watching the movie, is the movie what it said it was going to be? It was not. It was... Well, no, I take that back. My cinema score would probably still be pretty high. It was just stupid. It was still in the genre. It was still it was just trying to tell a whole nother story or 2 or 3 that weren't necessary. They felt very tacked on and, this will get some responses. Like that's kind of that, just for the sake of it. And that's for me what was so stupid. So, go see it at your own risk or just wait for it to be out on Apple TV and you can watch it at home. Sam Rockwell is phenomenal.
I love him.
He's just, I wish he would be my best friend. I'm actually currently listening to the newest episode of Smartless and they're talking to him and fantastic.
Have you watched Moon, by the way?
Oh, great movie.
Is it just called Moon or is it called?
Yeah, it's just called Moon. It's with Sam Rockwell, primarily Sam Rockwell. But
it's just Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey's voice.
It's a lot of Sam Rockwell. But I ended up watching that movie like 3 times in 2 weeks. There's like a vibe to it. I really like that film.
I will watch it because I love him. I fell in love with Sam Rockwell in Matchstick Men. and I have
I
not
think-
turned back.
Wow. Flip
So
the
many
switch
good
5
ones.
times, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
I haven't
it-
seen that since I was in high school.
Is that Nicolas Cage?
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, Sam
Isn't it-
Rockwell.
and he has
Yeah,
like
Seven Psychopaths is maybe my favorite Sam Rockwell movie.
he has like vacuumed the lines in the carpet and all that type of stuff.
He has
like,
OCD.
That's his
Yeah,
character.
he has OCD. Yeah. No, Sam Rockwell doesn't.
No, Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas
does.
Cage's character does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all about being like a matchstick man. So like somebody who does cons on people, con men, and it's oh gosh, it's really good. Yes,
It's so
yes,
funny.
of Ninja
Yes.
Turtles fame. I had no idea he was in that movie until I watched it later in life. Like
Yeah,
maybe
because you
5
wouldn't
or
have
6
known who
years
he
ago.
was when we were kids, like
Yeah.
at all.
Is he who asks if they want menthol or whatever? Like he's the guy with the cigarettes in the Foot Clan, right? If I remember correctly. Anyway, so Sam Rockwell is great in the movie, and even Henry Cavill, and the way that they juxtapose those two characters. John Cena is also in the movie.
I liked every actor that was on the list for this movie, and I like Matthew Vaughn, so I was like kind of excited for this at first, and then like it just literally looked like just kind of the more they showed, the less excited I got.
I forgot that Bryan Cranston was in this, and I did not know that Moira Rose was in this. I'm blanking on her name right now.
Catherine.
O'Hara.
It's
O'Hara.
gone.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up.
Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Catherine O'Hara.
Sorry, Andrew, you don't know this, and I'll cut this out. Every now and then, it's like every few minutes, your video just freezes for like 3 seconds and then comes back.
So does yours. So does your guys's.
No,
That's
but
fun.
I can still see Lauren moving. You stop moving, so I think it's you are.
It makes
freezing,
sense.
but
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay,
Yeah, no worries.
it's Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
Yeah,
There it
that
is.
is it. Yes, I just couldn't think of it. I blanked on the last name.
And it's
We got it together.
the team of people is, and then obviously Bryce Dallas Howard. The team of people they've assembled is great, and Samuel L. Jackson, and it's just like, why could they were so close? It was so close to being so fun and good, and then it just jumped the shark.
They got in their way.
Okay. One more thing. When I've been unboxing things and going through things and everything, and I found I'm going to be getting rid of a lot of stuff, like selling a ton of my collectibles, most of my art, and all these things. Right? We've talked about that. But I did find this
So I
guy
want to
that
get that garage sale up and running. I'm just not organized
Sure.
enough in my house yet, so it'll happen.
Yeah. So I did find this guy that I had totally forgotten about. Speaking of Bryan Cranston, is this one of the very first Tracy Tubera resin casts that he did? This was when he did it on his own before any of the Marvel or DC stuff.
Before you go on, I just need you to know that this is maybe my favorite piece that you have.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So Tracy Tubera now does a lot of stuff. He's pretty well known in the designer toy world. This was very, very early on. He hand cast all of these things, and this was like a personal project. And it's this guy right here. It's my
Oh yeah, it's a cool one.
my Walter White. He's made of like translucent blue resin.
Meth.
He's standing there in his underwear with his I am the one who knocks fedora on. So it's Heisenberg blue, and then he's got a bag. I'll take the bag out of his hand. He's got a gun in one hand.
Oh, that's cool.
And then he's got this bag of meth that he made, the blue rock, whatever, inside of this. I don't even know how he did it. It's like the resin inside, like this, like pieces of it inside, and then there's like a clear resin on top that looks like a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
And it goes in his hand.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
I
That you can
found-
like take it in and out of his hand.
It's incredible. This piece is so fun, and I totally forgot about this piece. And so I was thinking that maybe I would do some sort of giveaway or something. But if Patrick, if this is one of your favorite pieces that I have, then maybe that goes off the table.
So
We'll
the
figure it out.
the two that I love, and it's partly because of my love of resin.
You're putting in your request now.
But I'm just saying the two that I love, and it's because of my love of resin, are that one, and you have a like amber honey bear.
Yeah, the
figure.
honey bear.
Those two are just, but it's again, I love resin.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of resin pieces. I have this little
Mostly
resin guy
vinyl.
right here, that little bitty dunny, and but I really don't have any other resin pieces, and those pieces look awesome.
They do look really, really good. And then I found this. This is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
If you're gonna get, I would be even interested in buying either of those pieces from you, because like I'll pare down prints.
Yeah.
I will probably keep most of my toys because I love physical, like the 3-dimensional, that thing, you know.
Yeah. I'll let you buy it. So then the other thing that I found in my box was when I was a kid, I was in this thing called Spotlight Kids. And Spotlight Kids was a singing and dancing group that toured around and did stuff. And I was in elementary school and did this thing. I wore a bright blue sequined cummerbund.
I love this.
And a bow tie and
Aw.
a vest and all these things.
Can you sing part of one of your songs?
Not right now. But yes, I can. I can sing most of it because one of them, this was what I'm getting ready to show you. Specials that we did was a Disney medley.
Oh,
And
cute.
ears that I wore, my original Mickey ears that I wore for that Disney medley. Like these are legit 30 years old. These
Did
ears.
you do a rap?
So
Nope.
cute.
It was Disney. But
Were
yeah,
you a chubby kid?
Yeah, I was obviously a chubby kid. Ass.
I wasn't a chubby. Listen, I wasn't a chubby kid. Got there as an adult, and I'm just curious what your journey was.
We talked about husky. We talked about
Oh, we
shopping
did.
in the husky section.
Yeah, you're right. We did. Well, when I say I wasn't a chubby kid, I wasn't chubby when I was like, say, 2 to 4 months old.
Oh, okay. Well, no. Again, remember
When you're supposed to be chubby.
I was like 8 or 9 when I had these. So by the time I was 8 or 9, yeah, I was chubby. In fact, the chubbiness actually took over between first and second grade. I was almost like a toothpick when I was and all my kids, my
That's how I am. Yeah, was
child picks up until first grade, my school, whatever. And then my second grade year, it's like I got doubled in size. I'm like, what? Did you guys just start feeding me, or did you just stop keeping me from eating? Like, what happened between this year and this year? And my mom had no answer for me.
It's
Mine
funny if you
happened
think
when I
about
was,
it. It
like,
might be
13,
something like there
I
was
think.
one point where like something like I gained a lot of weight, and it was when my friends could drive and we would go to McDonald's a lot. Like
That's
Should've
true.
gone to
When I was in
Applebee's like I
second
was.
grade,
like certain things, not second grade, obviously, but like
when I was
like
in
you
second
can
grade,
think of something
all
later.
of my friends were driving. I had all my friends were 16 and older, and I was very mature as a kid, which is what translated to the maturity that we talk about now with the waffle
Okay.
stomping.
I'll cut this out, but two notes in terms of where mine comes from. Number one, my mom had to have back surgery, and so people like cooked for us for like months, and so we just got tons of like sweets all the time, like because everybody that brings like a lasagna also brings like a tray of brownies, and so we just had people were just loading our house with free food. That's number
They
one.
say that brownies are the lasagna of the dessert.
Yeah. Number two, I looked up to my dad, and I remember my dad when he would eat dinner, the plate would just balance on his stomach.
No, would it literally?
Yes, and so then I, as a
wow.
kid, wanted to emulate that. Like,
Sure.
to me, it was like exciting. Like, what if I could get the plate to be able to balance on my stomach? And it was like the convergence of these two things that really kicked it off.
Yeah. No, I
That's
could
so
see that.
funny.
And I absolutely do not think you should cut that. That should 100%
Yeah.
stay in this. It's endearing. It helps us have a little bit of understanding of, that's
Where I come
Patrick.
from. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
That also explains a little bit why you hold your computer the way you do on your lap.
It's this same method, 100%.
There we go. Yeah. Who was
Yeah.
that said that? Was that
That's
Mackenzie?
Mackenzie. She knows.
She's seen it.
Yeah, she's
yeah.
seen it.
Well, okay. I don't know what that had to do with this. This is the same. Every kid had the same size ears. It was
I was
One
just trying
size
to
fits all
imagine.
ears really clued him in.
I'm just
You
trying
can
to
tell that
really
it's stretched
picture
out.
you as a chubby kid in a sparkle cummerbund dancing. That's all. I'm just trying to get
sounds
the
so cute,
full
though.
visual image right now.
I actually, if we want to take, wait,
There's pictures.
I actually did. My sister did bring pictures of some things. So if we want to take before we leave here, before this episode is done, we're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
But before people who are actively on leave, if they want, I can go grab a couple pictures that are in that closet right there that
Okay.
could give you just a little bit of a glimpse.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
All right, let's
Yes,
continue through
please.
the episode so we can get to that.
All right, so
Yes.
that's going to be it for our Around the Table. Up next, we're going to talk about some master categories.
See, for people that don't watch on Twitch, that's what they're missing.
Baby pictures.
I'm going to say to people, this is what I've been trying to say. This is what you show up for. Okay. Every week we talk about the dice we rolled the week before. Those dice give us our categories. We pick our topics based on those categories. How's that mustache, Patrick? You getting ready to devise a diabolical,
Diabolical. I like
a
that.
diabolical plan.
That's an extra diabolical plan. A
It's just
diabolical.
so diabolical. It needed a little extra.
It needed an extra syllable.
Why don't you talk to us, Patrick?
Absolutely happy to. I'm talking about, go ahead and pronounce it for me, Andrew.
Elan.
The Elan.School. And I'm talking about Joe versus the cult. That's his Instagram, but his website is Elan.School, and Elan is ELAN. But the Elan.School was a school that had several locations. This one is detailing one of the locations up in northern Maine, and it's about Joe. Now, Joe is not the person's real name, but Joe is a person that went to the Elan.School and ended up writing and documenting his experiences there. And but he has created this webcomic of sorts under the name of Joe. And I did not know anything about this. I wasn't searching for this, but someone, there was a post, someone was talking about something. They referenced a school where it's one of these like, hey, instead of going to jail, you can go to this like camp rehab facility. And then kids were being like, basically like, you know, worked 20 hours a day and abused and all this type of stuff. So this was linked somewhere in that post, and I jumped to the first page, so Elan.School, and it just throws you into the book. And so I did not know how long it was when I started reading. I just was scrolling down the page and I was reading all the content, and then at some point it says continue to the next chapter, scrolling down the page, reading the content. And then 3 days in, I'm now in chapter 81. There's still 18 chapters left, so I have not made it to the end. But this is the first thing that has tricked me into reading in a very long time, because I thought, oh, I'm going to basically read like a news article. I was expecting a news article, and then it was animated, and I was
They
thinking,
tricked
okay,
you into reading.
yeah, they did. And then I was thinking, okay, it's an illustrated news article. That happens every now and then. You'll have like some big op-ed, and they'll do, like, if you've ever seen like the mountain one, that one's like super, super famous. Anyway, I'll throw a link somewhere. So then I was thinking, okay, illustrated news article, great. Again, 3 days have now elapsed, and I'm still going through it. So I did not intend to jump into this. Here's where I find myself. So the way it's structured is it's really in 3 parts. The first part is Elan versus Joe, which is basically the way this school operates is if your parents decide you're going, if you get signed up or a court decides you're going, 2 guys will surprise you in the night or surprise you at your work or whatever, grab you, throw you into a van. It's basically like a scared straight type deal. Drive you to a place you don't know where you're going. You suddenly find yourself, maybe many states away up in the wilderness in Maine. They have guards, like lookouts all over the place. But even if you were to run away, like what are you running to? You're running in the middle of the woods in northern Maine. And I don't know if you've been in the middle of woods in northern Maine, but there's nothing there. I remember driving up to Millinocket when I was in Maine and thinking, like, if I run off the road for any reason, like a moose runs out and I swerve off the road, who knows how long I'm going to lay here before someone finds me? I mean, that's the sense that
remote.
you get. It is remote. It is remote. And so these kids are put in this environment, and the kids are also kind of running the institution. So there's this social hierarchy that's created where, in order to not be punished, you as a person in this school have to dole out punishment on other kids. So like the way you get rewarded is by being the punisher, by berating people, by holding people down, by like snitching on people constantly and taking food from them. And so the kids themselves are the ones that are instituting and maintaining this like social hierarchy, just because they're trying not to lose their freedoms. They're trying not to get their release date pushed back. But then they are the ones that are abusing the next wave of kids. And through that abuse, that next wave of kids is taught how to abuse the next wave of kids. And it's this perpetual cycle. This school was open, by the way. It's a real school. It was open for, I think, something like 40 or 50 years before it finally got shut down by the state. And even then, I don't even think the state shut it down. I think they just said that we got too much bad press from online, in part to what I'm talking about now, the Elan.School.
Because this is like cruel and unusual.
Yeah. Like we got too much bad press because of
we heard an outside opinion.
So they don't even say that they don't even say they got shut down because the state shut them down. They just say that people stopped wanting to send their kids there, basically. Now, the deal is, when you go, there's not a set amount of time you're there. The only thing you can look forward to is once you get past 18 that they can't legally keep you. So at that point, you can choose to leave. However, it's also possible, if you choose to leave, that a judge could decide, well, you didn't officially graduate, and so therefore now we're sending you to jail. That's kind of the thing that's hanging over these kids' heads, because the kids that are there typically because they're in some form of other legal trouble. So the thing is, if you get sent there when you're 17, maybe you're there for a year. Some kids get sent there when they're 12 years old and literally are there for years and years and years. But they're being coached and monitored. They have no communication that isn't handheld. Like hand holding, not like a phone. But like
they only have data pads.
And even if they go to meet their parents at any time during their stay, another Elan student is with them the entire time, monitors when they use the bathroom, like watches them to make sure they don't try to escape, they don't try to like whatever else. It is wild. All of this stuff is outlined and detailed in this graphic comic of sorts. So again, it's Elan.School. When you land on that page, you're in chapter 1. This is not a short read, although maybe compared to what someone that reads, it's a short read. But for someone that doesn't read, it's not a short read. Jedi, I agree, but they go into how those things were skirted.
Can you read what he said so that there's
Jedi said, this seems like it shouldn't be legal. And I agree, but the thing is that
it's voluntary, which
the way it was all done was in such a way to suppress that feedback.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they ended up having like a very successful like running team, for instance, and I think a very successful basketball team. Now, they were very successful because the kids were basically like they were punished by being made to work out. So then that house was like, hey, at least you get to see the outdoors, because other kids, they were only allowed to go outdoors for something like 4 hours a week or something like that. Otherwise, they were confined inside. Again, it's all very fascinating. It's all detailed. I don't need to go into details because you can read it. But if you want to read it, Elan.School, jump in. There's no paywall, anything like that. You can check it out. Like I said, I have like 18 chapters left. It is, depending on what your experience is in life, some of this content could be very difficult to read. So just keep that in mind. I mean, it's detailing abuse. And that abuse is not sexual abuse, but it is physical abuse. It's verbal abuse. It's a lot of kids afterwards, because of their experience, ended up falling into bad lifestyles and bad habits as a way of coping with the things they experienced at the school. And so unfortunately, the bad did not end when people graduated, which is why this is broken into those 3 parts of Elan versus Joe. And then Joe versus Joe, coming to terms with his own demons he developed partially from Elan and just partially that he still had. And then finally Joe versus Elan, which is him trying to actually get the school exposed and ultimately get the school closed down. Anyway, fascinating read. Elan.School. Yeah.
It sounds really interesting. Like sad, obviously, but like, yeah, there's so many like questions. Like, yeah, how could they keep them there? Like, why would you stay? I guess like, yeah, it's better than jail.
From the visual, I just started kind of scrolling through it.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they depict at the very beginning, he's showing where he traveled from home to the middle of the woods, and it took me a second to gain my bearings. The United States is flipped upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And there's obviously a lot of symbolism in that, right? Like this whole thing is just nothing about this is correct or whatever. But there's it's a simple artistry. Maybe it changes as you go, but it's all basically black, white, and gray. Very simple outline, illustrations to this thing. So
I did notice some cool layout stuff though, like in that first chapter, like that, like you said with that, and like I think I've read it some other comics where like you scroll down through that and they use that as kind of like a reveal a lot of times. Like
Yes.
it's a kind of a cool way to read it. Lore Olympus does it like nobody else's business, but I'm sure that they've done it if they're that clever.
And it's misleading too because the first chapter has basically no text.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That changes. It gets very text heavy later on. And then every chapter gets much longer later on.
Yeah, sure.
Just don't. I would just, for those people, this might be like a traditional graphic novel. It's not. And you wouldn't go to this for the artistry of it. You would go to it because of how interesting, compelling, and educating the story of it is. You're not going to this because you're going to want to emulate the art in this. It's not. The art is used seemingly, and maybe this isn't fair, but my take on this is the art is used solely as a vessel to just compel you to keep reading. It's not meant to like stand out on its own.
No. There are some parts later where, as a part of validating the experience, there are actual photographs woven in where when Joe left Elan, he took things with him. He stole several things, took several things, and he's just kept them. So he's at some points he will show pictures to validate the things that he's talking about. I will say, like, it's hard to know. So within the context of Elan, it seems like he's a very truthful narrator. Also, because there's other accounts to back up what he's saying. His is not the only voice. You can Google this, and you can find plenty of other articles, plenty of other voices that are talking about exactly what he's talking about.
He's not a disgruntled. He's not just like some disgruntled student, and this is just like a one-off deal.
Yeah. Now, later on, when he's out of Elan, I have started having some trouble trusting him in terms of like what he's feeding us as the audience. And the story has taken a bit of a hit for me. So
can I take a guess at something? And maybe you don't know the answer to this, but are you potentially thinking that this story, while true, was so compelling that now he has an audience, and he feels like like he needs to elaborate on or add things to or exaggerate other elements of his existence to help keep up the persona and the voice that he gained by telling the truth about this one crazy thing?
I cannot express enough how exactly that is what I was going to say.
Okay.
Yeah, because his experience is real. It is a documented experience by other people, and he has documents to back it up. But post that, it just feels like every other experience he tries to elevate to that level.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to believe that it keeps operating at that level. So you could almost stop. I mean, it's not the whole story, but I'm saying that I have found the Joe versus Joe part of the comic to not be as compelling. I just started the Joe versus Elan part today. And so maybe that part I'll fall back into. But the first bit I deeply enjoyed. And for people asking comments in chat about how is this legal and how can they send them to jail and how can this and that, like it would take me as long to explain it as if you just read it. So just read it, and I think that you will see how that pressure can exist at all levels, and how the desire for maintaining power at all levels can allow something like this to not only exist but to thrive. We all tend to live in environments that are relatively fair, and so we make the assumption that everyone else lives in environments that are relatively fair. And so it's just difficult for us to understand how unfairness can exist, but it did clearly exist in this case. And this tries to detail how something like that came to and continued to exist.
This honestly sounds not terribly unlike some of the stories I've heard of some of the like Amish compounds or even compounds of like cult leaders and cult followers
Yeah,
and
it
things
sounds
where
almost like a cult.
Very much.
Yeah.
If you've watched any Netflix documentary about a cult leader, this is a pattern. Like the way these things exist, the way this continued to exist and thrive very much falls in line with the same patterns that have allowed other famous cults to exist and to thrive.
Yeah. Wow. On that, tossing it to
Lauren.
Cool. I'll pick it up a little bit. Totally unrelated. You used it on purpose this time. Yay.
that time I did.
All right. So I wanted to talk about a new podcast that I've been listening to. This actually like just started pretty recently. There's only 2 episodes out, but it's something that's kind of like right up, I think, a lot of our listeners' alley. And it is called Stick the Landing. It's from the Ringer podcast network. I've talked about a lot of their shows before. It is hosted by Andrew Greenwald, who also is on The Watch, and he has a special guest every week. And the idea behind the show is that they every week they pick a TV show, or I think it's every other week, but anyway, they pick a TV show and they kind of chat through like, did the ending stick the landing? Like, it's all about like the ending of these very iconic TV shows. So the first 2 episodes that they've done so far were The Office and Girls, which I thought were like great picks because like The Office is, I think, one that like a lot of people have seen The Office, and I think that I really agreed with like what they said about that show also, where like it felt like it had more than one ending throughout the series, and like like kind of discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of all of this. And like I feel like they're very like, because it's been a little while since these shows came out, the opinions feel like very objective and like just kind of like they have the space to have thought about them and the show as a whole and like what the ending means for the show, instead of like reacting to it as you saw it at the end of you watching it. And so I feel like
less emotional.
Yeah. So I think the thoughts behind it are really well thought out, and like the points that they want to make are like very balanced and like fair with what they're saying. Like they have like examples of like why they think what they think, and yeah, it just feels it's a very like it's a different kind of way to look at this stuff. Like now that it's like had time to rest, and you can compare it to other things and like see all the things that have like picked up because of it. In some cases, like The Office is one where like so many shows have emulated what The Office did because it was so successful. So they talk about like the legacy that these shows leave behind and stuff. So I really think this is a cool premise, and like they're very, like I said, very thoughtful and like balanced in what they're like the points that they're bringing to the show. And like I think like the one about Girls like kind of brought up some stuff where like I remember not liking that ending at all, and then they brought up some stuff where like if you think of it like when you watch season 1 to the end, and if you've like watched it in maybe a closer span, it feels a lot different. And I'm like, oh, I think like these are some really good points that almost made me want to rewatch the ending again, because I was like, oh, maybe I am like I did forget too much and like not appreciate this idea, or like I didn't see it at the time because like you were too wrapped up in the story that was in the last season instead of the show as a whole, which I think is like a very natural thing to do when you're just watching a show as it comes out. You get very invested in like the current season, and like that becomes your like last impression. So kind of going back to these shows after they've been, like I said, been out for a while and you can really sit on it is a very fun concept, I think. Other shows that they've kind of teased that they're going to do are like The Sopranos and Mad Men, Friday Night Lights, Freaks and Geeks. I think there's so many more that they could do. Like I was trying to think of like 3 shows that I think would be cool to do this for later, and I came up with 20. Like almost like Game of Thrones is obviously one that comes to mind immediately, but the host was like one of the commenters on the like official Game of Thrones show that HBO did. So
Oh.
he's had a lot of Game of Thrones thoughts out there in the world on the internet that I've listened to, like
That one's
etc.
easy though. That one
Yeah,
did
I
not
know, but
stick the landing.
I know, but I would be like,
Yeah,
I
does
think
this
it's
end in
it
a
is.
binary? Yes or no?
It just
Is that how this ends?
They don't. I do think they do that at the end, but it's not like truly a yes or no question because it's like they suck it in some ways and sometimes didn't, and I think it's cool. But I think there's like a lot of shows, like even like Friends or something like that, could be cool because it went on for so long, and I think it has a pretty like well respected ending. But like I just was like, I think like I'm curious to hear their take now that like that I've like noticed how much they like appreciate the show as a whole and like bring that into like what all of that means for the ending of these shows, or more recent shows as well, or maybe even shows that are like Firefly that like are beloved but never got a real ending, and like what could that be like, and like
Our
we're stuck
flag
with the
means
ending we
death.
have.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. That one at least like it felt like they had some kind of ending at the end, like a like they could keep going, but they at least like put a period at the end of the sentence. Like some shows never get a chance to even like feel like they might have ended there, or
The
like
last
they just
man
have to
on
leave in the
Earth.
middle of the sentence basically because they didn't know they were going to be canceled.
I just want to take this moment to say I so loved the show The Last Man on Earth, and it could not have ended at a worse, like, I think it got
never got
canceled
to the point.
mid-season. I think it got
Yeah.
canceled mid-season,
Oh, that's the worst.
and it was
That's
canceled
that's
in
what I'm
such a
talking about. Like
way.
shows like this that like they just don't get a chance to finish it because of whatever was going on in the world.
You would think that it was canceled in such a way that they finished editing like episode 5, and then the studio called and just went, "All right, you don't get to make any more." And that was it. Like, that's how this show ends. You would not believe calling it a cliffhanger is unfair. It's just unfinished. But I loved that show so much. I have a feeling Will loves that show as well. I just feel like he would, because it's about a very depressed man, at
And
least
he has a beard.
initially. And he
Yeah.
has a beard. And so it's right up Will's alley. But I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm kind of like winding down, but basically the show's called Stick the Landing. It's new. Anywhere you want to listen to podcasts. Like I said, I do feel like this is like totally up our alley. Like I pretty much was like ready to be like, Andrew, you need to listen to this Office episode because I thought they did such a good job. But I got this category, so I get to
Perfect.
spread the word to everyone.
I will go listen and see if. So I've been rewatching The Office. I'm at Steve Carell's last episode,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't bring. And I've been at that episode for we have been at that episode for over a week, and I can't bring myself to watch it.
Oh, is it like I know what you mean though, because like you know what you're in for.
Yeah, and I can't emotionally bring myself there right now for one reason or another. I don't know why. Like and so I restarted watching Modern Family. So maybe I'll finish that whole series and then go back to that episode with Steve Carell when he leaves. But
Modern Family's one I like completely fell off of. Like, did it end? Is it still going? Like
what?
Modern Family?
Oh no, it ended, and the ending was
yeah.
Yeah, the ending was satisfying and sad and moving and all of those things. And so I am very much a part of this podcast. I like the idea of listening to that and seeing what their opinions are on it, because I have very strong feelings about the ends of shows. So we'll see.
Yeah,
if
I think
they
that
align.
a lot of people do because it, like it really can make or break the whole show is like the finale, like the ending. You got to stick the landing, like you got to really like all your effort could be ruined if you can't make the jump, like.
So we're currently in, there's two things that I want to say about ends of shows and things. We are final season, final season, that just started 2 weeks ago. And that show's been around. This is season 12, and that show's been around for years and years. That's Larry David and all these things.
That has been like canceled and brought back though, correct? Like
yes,
if I'm remembering
yes,
right.
multiple
Yeah.
times.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is the final season. And then tied to that, I recently saw Jerry Seinfeld was doing like an interview. It wasn't an interview, but he did like a question and answer portion of his stand-up gig, I guess. and someone asked if he was happy with how Seinfeld ended. And I don't know if you guys have watched the series finale of Seinfeld. Okay, you guys aren't Seinfeldians, but fine. That show had
spoil it or whatever.
I'm going to. That show had a controversial series conclusion because while it was fun, they had lots of like old characters come back. That show ended by them all just going to jail, and they all got put in a jail cell.
Oh, I have seen that actually.
And then that's it. And it just pans back, and they're just sitting at a jail in a jail cell after being convicted for this crime. And in the conversation that he's having with the people, he says, "Well, actually, that may not be the ending." And he talked about a project that he and Larry David have been talking about, and maybe just state something that may be coming that hasn't quite happened yet. So
they must have put a lot more zeros on the back of that number, because it's surprising to hear him of all people.
I know.
Say that he might do something else with Seinfeld. That's shocking.
I know, because of historically, famously, that show did not get canceled. They were clamoring for him to do that show, and he stopped it. He said, "We want to stop doing this show." It was on top. It was the number one sitcom on TV when they decided to not continue with it. So, and he has historically gone. Like there's this interview that he has with Larry King, where Larry King says something about the how long the show had been going before it got canceled, and he goes, "It didn't get canceled. There's a big difference between me not doing it anymore and it getting canceled. It was the number one show." But I'd be interested to hear if they do an episode on Seinfeld, and then if there really is some sort of additional piece that comes in. Like, I don't think it would retcon any of the series finale stuff, but any of these like addendum type shows that may be happening with all of these reboots and all these reunions.
That's the thing that I was going
to
to say, is that it feels like the era of reboots and or sequels or kind of side projects and reunions, the Friends stuff that happened like a year or two ago, like it just and specifically for like that same era of TV, I think is really like extra nostalgic right now.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm down to try out this podcast. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's cool. Stick the landing.
I would love to hear their response on Lost, and then see Patrick.
They're also big fans of Lost, so that's one that I'm sure that they will talk about eventually. I think they probably will save it for a while, because that's one of the most controversial endings of all time.
Yeah, you have to.
I've said it before.
There's ones like I would love if they did like Battlestar Galactica. I think that's like a really nerdy pick, but it has a really cool ending, so that would be a fun one.
Just the Lost ending is much better if you don't binge like all 7 seasons at once, or 5 seasons
I
at
actually
once.
think that the ending is significantly better because of binging, because if you watched it every week for years,
you're disappointed.
Like it was so disappointing. Like that's the thing. I was like, the
was
build up to
watching
this
it live.
was so
I saw
painful.
it live, and I did not find it, like the last season, I did not find nearly as disappointing as other people did. And even the final episode, I just didn't.
You do have rose-colored glasses when it comes to that show, though. You have to admit, like there is some unnatural, and it's not bad. It is some unnatural connection that you have to that show that maybe
nobody here is allowed to say bad things about Lost.
Yeah, period. And
that's going on my laminated list.
I wouldn't be caught dead.
We each get one.
Yes,
I promise.
We should each get one game
protected,
like one piece of art
property. Yeah.
Force field. That's what happens when you just go force field, and we can't keep talking about it. I want to get a board that happens right back here. Maybe a digital, Patrick, in our clicker, or in our stream, there should be a little sign that pops up that says "Days Without Yucking Yums," and it just ticks up as the year goes on. Like the no accident sign. Okay. I'm gonna round this out, and I'm going to talk. I had design right now, and design right now.
Pause real quick. Can you start and say I'm going to round things out again, because you froze right when you said that. So just pause, just in case it's not good on the recording, and continue.
See, my thing that you can't talk about is me freezing, so fair. I don't want you to bring it up again. And I feel very strongly about that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to round this thing out, and I'm going to do it by talking about something design that's happening right now. And if you don't know what's happening in the world of design right now, then where have you been? And I am talking about Apple Vision Pro. Apple Vision Pro is the newest wearable tech that is out in the market. I think they released it 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. It's very, very new. It's very much what's happening right now. And Apple Vision Pro, if you're not aware, I'm going to give you a couple of stats about what this thing is. It is essentially a pair of ski goggles that you can see through that alter your reality. So this is not virtual reality. This is what is it? Oh, now I'm blanking on what it's called. AR is
Augmented reality.
augmented. Jeez,
But they have their own name for it, by the way. Apple
I know,
has like a name that
Apple
reviewers
reality.
are supposed to use. But
yeah, so there's like spatial reality or something, I think is what they call it,
Yeah,
because everything
something
on their page is spatial whatever. But this is it looks like a pair of goggles that you put on that both see through and people can see you into them, but they can also become completely opaque to where they completely immerse. Spatial computing, that's what it is, spatial computing. That you can become completely immersed in whatever it is that you're looking at. Now, this device essentially runs on a new OS, which is like a combination of the Watch OS and the iPad OS and the iOS, but it isn't a full operating system like your computer would be. It is one of those mobile OSs. But here's kind of what the whole idea is, that you can, their slogan with this is, you've never seen everything like this before, instead of you've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, arguably creative, but also a little ambiguous and a little bit weird and just, I don't know. But the whole idea is that you can take things that you do and do them in a different way, and they can take over your entire landscape if you want, or you can segment things, basically turn your entire room into the Minority Report, which is really what this whole thing boils down to, because you view and move and interact with things using your fingers, your hands, and your eyes. And the whole thing is totally manipulated in that way. Now you can connect your computer to it through Bluetooth, and you can use your mouse and your trackpad and all that stuff if you want, and your keyboard. But primarily, if you're using this device outside of being paired to a laptop, you're using your hands and your eyes and your fingers to do all the gestures and things. The big thing that we're seeing with people right now is they're watching movies on massive screens. Oh, and here's the biggest
That seems like
piece
the
of,
number one thing I would want to do after
Yeah.
looking at the ad is just watch a movie in there.
yeah, the biggest piece of tech that I think is notable. Well, there's a lot of technology in it, obviously, but the biggest piece that was notable to me is each lens has a postage stamp size screen for each eye. So there's two of these screens, one for each eye, that is 4K. And so it's a postage size stamp and it's 4K for each eye, which allows you to have obviously unparalleled clarity and abilities to kind of see beyond what you would normally think you could see in any other device. In any other device, and you can turn any space into whatever you want it to be. The cool stuff that I've seen is that you can have, you can be multitasking by having video up on one side, and on the other side you have your Twitter feed or your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed or whatever. You could be working on this other side. You could be doing a call on the other side, and you can literally just set it up so that all these stations in your physical space. And then you can put all of it away. You can move it away. You can turn and look at what you want to look at. You can focus on all that stuff. And
It's like that Iron Man thing,
yeah,
like
that's
where all
really-
the screens pop up and you can kind of move them however you need to enhance or whatever.
That's
you know?
that's exactly how they report that that's what they advertise that you're able to do with this thing. Now, I will say a couple of things about it. It does look very comfortable. The band they have on the back of this thing looks very different than what you're used to if like you're used to the Oculus.
It
The
looks
Oculus,
more lightweight because
it does. It feels
that's
more
kind of my
light.
main issue with that is it's quite heavy and like will give you a headache after a while.
Right, and then the band that goes on the back of your head is substantial. It's like it's nice and thick, like it's nice and tall, so it kind of wraps around almost like a gauze around the back of your head. So it's much more comfortable and breathable than the plastic strap down that you have for for like the original Oculus, and all these things. And because there's the lens, you can see through it. So I'm sure by now you've seen videos of people walking through downtown areas, riding, riding the
people
subway.
driving cars wearing them. They tout like only 12 milliseconds of latency between what you're seeing and what's happening and what you're seeing. Because in fairness, you're not looking through it. You're still looking through a camera, but the latency is like crazy small, like nearly imperceptible.
Right, and so that's what I was gonna say. It's not an actual piece of glass. I mean, it is, but you're not viewing through it. What people are seeing is a digital depiction of your eyes. So there's cameras on your eyes, obviously, to help with the movement, but they also project your eyes to the front of this thing, and it's a so surreal situation. The only scenario, well, before I say my piece on this, the cost of this, if you're unaware, I think it's $3,500, if I'm not mistaken.
It depends on how you outfit it, but yeah, $3,500 I think is base price.
It's got a 2 to 2.5 hour.
One of these.
It's got a 2 to 2.5 hour battery life on it. Again, like you can wear it anywhere. Theoretically, technically, you can wear it anywhere. Do you guys see a use for this? I know we talked theoretically about this a while back, Patrick. I don't know if it was on the show or not, but do you see an actual use case for this?
Here's the thing. The last MacBook Pro I bought, which is the one that's sitting right beside me right now, was $3,500. So in terms of spending money for this, it is a computer, but instead of it being in laptop form, it fits on your face. So I don't... So from my standpoint, it feels very justifiable. I don't see it as being an overpriced item. Now, something cannot be overpriced, but still be like
not a market fit for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like something can be like worth it in terms of the technology and the materials, but still not worth it in terms of what the value it actually adds to your life. And so that's a decision you have to make. But given the technology and the materials, given what it is and what it does, I don't think $3,500 is crazy. In terms of using it, I see it more as like a desktop replacement. I mean, that's what I would be interested in, but that would involve wearing it for several hours at a time. And I don't yet, because I have not experienced it, I don't have a lot of confidence that would ultimately be a comfortable experience for me.
Yeah.
There are some limitations if you're using it in a multi-desktop setup. There are some limitations. Same thing with if you have I don't remember if it's Thunderbolt or Lightning, very, very frightening, like whatever the cable is. But there's only so many monitors that can power because of data transfer speeds, and similarly, there's only so many AR computer monitors you can have up in front of you, again because of data transfer speed. So there are some limitations like that. So I think you're limited to a really massive display instead of doing like a multi-display setup. Now you can have multiple windows open for other things, but I'm talking about if I'm using it for work specifically. So I could see myself using it for that. I will say, generally speaking, with new tech, I'm more of like a Gen 2, Gen 3 person. Like, let other people dive in first, let them fix some problems, refine a few things, and then I can jump in before they stop making the major improvements, It's like buying an iPhone. The sweet spot for what you got for the money was probably like 5, and since then it feels like really mild improvements, but before then every single jump felt like a massive jump. So that's the thing. I'm going to wait till 3, and then I'm going to jump on this bandwagon, but I'm excited for one. I do want one for sure.
It definitely seems cool, and the more that I've seen this develop, I'm a little more swayed towards being interested, but that price is high for what I think I would get out of it. I don't think I could do a lot of my everyday work on that computer, to be honest. Like, like it seemed like it would be extra difficult.
Yeah.
But it does seem cool. Like like the way that they were showing like how movies would be, it's basically like an IMAX. So like that seems really cool. I do though think that like that's going to be like, does everyone who's watching the movie with you need to have those on? And then like, how
Yep.
does that feel when you're sitting there like that versus watching a screen together? Like, I don't know, like I don't know if I would love it. Like
That's
I'm
where
not
that's where you get into Wall-E world, right?
exactly
You get
like it
into
just doesn't. It feels very like anti-human in a weird way, or like like just like you're being rude to all the
antisocial.
people. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like so, I don't know. I can't like I can imagine watching a movie by myself like that, but I can't totally picture how like you would watch a movie with like 4 people.
Yeah, but think
You
about a
know,
movie on an airplane or on like a
that's a
road
good
trip in a
point. Yeah.
car. Like suddenly that's got to feel like game changer.
Yeah.
For those in the comments talking about how yes, you still need a laptop to use it in that work environment. I understand that aspect, but I will say we're in a place now. Like it used to be that you would buy a laptop. Like I used to buy a MacBook every 2 years, and I did that for a while. And I'm in a place now where I feel like I can realistically buy one like every 5 years. And so in the way that has slowed down, and I feel like that lasts me much longer, now it doesn't feel awkward to say, okay, well, now I can pick up this to pair with my laptop. Or for people that get a company provided laptop, well, then maybe this is the personal device that you buy in addition to your company provided computer. So again, I don't think it's a crazy price for what it is. It's
No,
expensive.
it isn't.
But it
Yeah,
doesn't
it
mean
is
it's a bad
expensive,
price.
but yeah, and like I have like a VR, like an older Quest, and like I like playing it much more than I ever thought I would when I first got it, but it's still like I pretty much only can play it by myself. So it's just one of those things, like that kind of makes it difficult. And like you can like hook up what you're seeing to a screen so people who are there can see it, but it's still not really as much fun as like when you would just like play Mario and hand the controller to the other person when you die,
Hey,
it's a much more of a process.
anybody that buys this to like take pictures, that's dumb. That's a waste
So
of money.
okay, but so hang on that note. This is the first Apple device that has a 3D camera built into
I
it.
hear, but you look so stupid. Like that's the thing I can't get over.
Listen,
That's
I hear,
also, yeah, like I would not be confident enough to wear one of those in public ever.
I
Never.
agree. I know. So there's
That door will
lots,
stay shut. I won't even let Mackenzie see me with it on.
there's
Yeah,
a
like
lot-
when I play VR, no one is in the house.
there's a lot to consider. I get all that. But the one piece that does feel truly different, right? Because just like watching all the other stuff on a screen, on your laptop, on your phone or whatever, like that's all fine. You have it, it's just a different way of viewing the thing that you already can view 15 other ways. And it's cool and that's fine. But the truly like game-changing thing for me is this 3D this ability to capture things in 3D and then move around them as your own photos or your own videos. That is really cool. And then the spatial audio that's tied into all of this, if you put something further away in the room, like in your space, and you put something further away in the room, it feels like the audio is coming from over there. And then
that's
if you
pretty cool.
if you turn your head, the audio focuses then on whatever this other thing is that you've put in front of your face. So in terms of like multitasking and being able to switch zones quickly, that part seems very beneficial. You're not
When do
having
you
to
get
always
yours?
go and adjust volumes because a call's coming in or because you need to hop over and just like focus on something real quick. Like you can just turn your head and it will spatially focus you based on what you're looking at.
Yeah. When do you get yours?
Mine will be here on Thursday at my
Just in time
at
for jury duty.
When I get home from jury duty, it's my prize.
It's better than what I got today.
Yeah, which was, did you get $15? Is that what you got for?
I don't even know, but like they
Is that paid
say,
for lunch?
do you want the money mailed to you or do you want to like donate it to a charity? And I was like,
Yeah.
mail it to me. What are you talking about? Like
Yeah.
I earned.
And they do ask
My
that
money.
question
So funny.
in front of other people too. They're like, "Hey, y'all, if you want to," yeah, it's a little shady how they do that.
I burned all those
hilarious.
social bridges already. So
Okay, so anyway, this is the Apple Vision Pro. Is it the future? Maybe. Is it the future
Some
we
version
want?
of this.
I'm not sure because you just look so
that's difficult.
dumb. It's
So
just so dumb looking.
Cyclops is never the coolest X-Men, you know? Like
One day, all
Yeah.
of this will fit. By the way, okay, glasses are already bad. They literally just rest on your face. They're just propped on your body.
Hey, listen. Cool it. Cool
No,
it,
but
Jen.
I had to. The more I considered the fact that they literally just propped on my nose, the more I was like, these are dumb. And now I wear contacts. Other people on this call.
I wear contacts sometimes, but I don't like it normally because if I do work on the computer all day, I get a bad headache wearing contacts.
Hey, these aren't even prescription. I just wear them for the look.
I love
bad.
it.
But one day, all this technology will fit in a much smaller form factor. And then when that
Watch.
day happens, then we're all going to be on board. Oh, you should put it back. Put it back on. Put it back on. Put it back on.
Have we tried glasses on, lights off?
Do you have shaved eyebrows?
What?
Do you have shaved eyebrows, or are they just like blonde?
No, I don't have
Have you been watching enough Drag Race to like, think
Bro.
about that?
Do you take little glue sticks and do this to your
Yeah.
eyebrows? They're so pale. Oh, I see him now. No, I see him. Go back. Get farther away, please.
It's blonde. I'm a blonde. It's all blonde, Patrick.
But from this distance, it does kind of look like you are powder.
Last week we said, what did we say last week? We said Nell, and we said, what was the other one?
Let's add it to the watch party. I said North, but we were also talking about
Powder's
that
one
was
of
it.
those movies that like everyone has
North-
seen on TV but doesn't know that they've seen on TV.
Now we've got Powder. If there was a remake of Powder, you know who it would be Austin Butler,
Listen,
right? Because that's what he looks like in the new Dune movie. He
talked-
looks like Powder.
I talked to Will about it more this week because his idea was so good. I'm 100% in on VHS summer camp. I'm
Yes.
100% a book
Oh,
a
I love that,
campground.
yeah.
Set up a bunch of old-looking living rooms, bunch of VHS, and just movies and hang out. Like,
Well, just one big living room. We don't need a bunch
Yeah.
of living rooms.
Yeah, we can change
and
the
we watch
theme.
together.
oh, I grew up in a very well-off family.
Yeah, clearly.
We'll copy
Again,
yours.
we had
your
we had
movie
a,
room.
a VHS player just for Working Girl.
I forgot. Yeah, the special one. Did you have a rewinder?
So growing up, a rewinder. I froze. I get it. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up, we had a rewinder, and it was the shape of a black,
Ooh.
like a black Cadillac, like a '57 Cadillac. And the hood would pop up, and you would slide the VHS into it, and you'd push
Okay,
it down
that's
to rewind.
awesome. That is very cool. Mine was
It
just a square, and that's so cool.
I didn't even know that they had other shapes until like I was in my 20s. And I was like, oh, that's a thing that other people have. I thought legitimately, I was like, anybody who has a VHS rewinder, this is how they are. This is what they look like. I
What
never
are
saw.
y'all? There was
None
a
of my other
separate
friends had
device for rewinding them?
Yeah, you would just.
didn't even know
Oh
this
my
was a
gosh,
thing?
yeah.
Either I did it or the VHS player
Yeah, you would
did
hit
it.
rewind so it went faster, and then or you could take it out and put it in the separate rewinder
It
thing.
only
yeah.
rewound videos.
Yeah, that's all it did. It was like the
You
slot
stuck
where
it
you
in,
stick it in,
you
and
pressed it down, and it went. Zzz, and then when it was done,
it was-
it popped back up.
and you stuck it in the opposite direction you normally stick a VHS, where you go like like hot dog style, like hamburger style, where it's like the horizontal, and then you stuck it in like the vertical way.
In
into the
pinata style,
rewinder.
but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went instead of it going in like this.
Yes,
it went
yes,
in
it went like this. Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't know about
Okay,
those.
we have
Patrick.
to get a rewinder for VHS summer camp.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same with that one. And if it's not a car one, I'll be really sad.
I feel like I've got a couple things to show and tell now, right? Like,
Yeah.
we just need to. When we finish this, I'm gonna find a photograph, and then I'm gonna look up this Cadillac
Okay,
VHS.
let's get out of this
rewinder.
episode. Let's get out of this
yes,
episode.
yes.
Okay, that's the Apple Vision
my
Pro.
dice.
If you have one, let us know how it is. I'd love to try it out. I'd love to see, but I don't foresee owning one of these anytime in the near future, unless you want to get one for me for my bar mitzvah. In which
Gen
case,
3.
I need to plan a
I'll
bar
have-
mitzvah.
Listen, Gen 3 I will own.
Okay.
That's my
and by
promise.
then it'll probably be $3,500, but the computers will be $6,000. So it'll be.
But you have
like-
enough time to learn Hebrew, so you'll be fine.
She's merging the two things that we're saying. you're not going to have to learn Hebrew to get the Apple Vision Pro,
Kidding.
Patrick.
I thought
Thank
that
you.
was your bar mitzvah gift.
That's going to be my bar mitzvah gift.
Yes.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai. Is that the beginning?
Yes, it is.
I'm killing it. I'm already
Nailed
halfway
it.
there. I assume it's only a three-line thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
well
Seder
then,
a type of wood?
No.
is a Seder a type of wood? It's a cedar.
Cedar is.
thinking
Seder
cedar.
is
Oh,
a,
I see,
a
okay.
Jewish dinner. Yeah.
Well, let's. Speaking of Jewish dinner, let's roll some dice.
Sweet. I got 4-4. It's my birthday.
Today's your birthday.
No, 4-4 is my birthday.
4.
so-
7. Future.
All right. You got TV.
7 is the perfect
Nice.
number. You got TV?
And I got
did.
art.
I got 16
Film.
and 1. I got a film, a past film. Okay.
I was going to say,
Well,
sorry, I took every trailer that just
No,
came
I'm going
out.
to talk about Argyle because I'll have seen it in the past. No, I that's going to be a fun one. A film from the past. I will watch. Maybe we'll watch Page Master.
Dune 1.
or Powder.
or Powder. Okay.
We already talked about Page Master.
On that note, you can find show notes and links to all the stuff that we've talked about in this episode over at mof1.network. While you're there, you can find an archive full of hundreds of episodes. While you're there, share one of those episodes with your friends and say, hey, here's a podcast that I listen to that's super fun. 5 stars from me. Can't help but recommend it. That's what I would suggest you all write and say to your people. And then, tune in on Twitch, twitch.tv/mof1podcast. You can follow us, and then you can also subscribe. Subscribing doesn't have to cost you any money if you're a Prime subscriber. Just throw your Prime subscription to us each and every month. You get one for free. Let Jeff Bezos pay for you to hang out with us. That's fine with us. And you don't ever have to miss an episode. When we have one, if you're following and subscribed, you will get notified when we go. And we will occasionally pop up. It's not always just once a week. So the best way to never miss anything is to follow and subscribe. You can also rate and review the show over on the different podcast platforms if you are just dead set on only ever listening, which I don't know what your problem is. But if that's you, we love you too. But leave a review for us on whatever platform that you listen to us on, because that's super helpful for us. It helps get us in front of other people. The algorithms love it when you do stuff like that. And then we get new friends, and that's what this is all about. It's all about community. On that note, though, I think we're gonna hop out of this episode. We have an announcement. What am I doing? We have an announcement. Patrick, why don't you announce something for us?
Total Bush League last week of this month, the last Monday of this month, we are bringing trivia back.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. So for signups are going to drop in Slack tomorrow. There'll be a sheet in there with the teams. Jump in and join the team. If you don't know what team you want to be on, just add your name to the list. We will move you and assign you to someone. Trivia, we're going to shake it up a bit. It won't be the same rounds you've seen in the past. I've been teased a couple of the like what's in
categories.
The pool. Yeah, we don't know what'll actually come out because obviously I'm not allowed to know any of the questions and stuff like that.
I haven't even heard some of these things, so you better tell us.
When I say a couple,
it's
I've
fair.
only been teased one.
And which
Okay,
is what?
fair.
I can't tell you
Oh, you better freaking tell me.
because because it's about you. So that's the reason I can't tell you.
I think Andrew's gonna
That
win.
was a
You had that the whole time?
record scratch? Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
That seems versatile. Okay, so the point is the sign up is going to be on Slack. We'll add the sign up to the show notes as well. But honestly, if you're going to participate in trivia, that means you need to kind of be social. So if you're going to be social, you really need to jump in Slack. So just go to our mof1.network. You'll see the Slack icon. Click that. You'll be able to join
You don't
immediately.
have to talk all the time. You can just be a peeper. We've got peepers in
Plenty
there,
of
y'all.
peepers.
We got
Plenty of peepers.
There's
But-
there are probably 100 peepers in there, if we're being honest.
But get signed up. It's always a fun time. We will live stream it on Twitch, but it won't be available like after the fact. So if you just miss
Right.
it, then you've missed it. But you don't want to miss it. It's always a lot of fun. I will
It is
say,
a lot of fun.
Andrew, if I don't win, then I will never participate in trivia again.
I think more than fair. That's expected. And the show is probably our biggest show of like, those are always the most attended, the most participants. There's so
For sure.
much fun. You want to be a part. I promise you. Even if you're not like super sure, there's something that you can contribute to. And
Yes.
it's always a good time. So hop in there.
Even
and,
team morale is a good thing to contribute to. You know,
That's
you can
my
just be
team,
there
Team
having
Morale.
fun.
And Team
Yeah.
Morale will win. Or I will never play again.
Mine is Team Morale, and we're all going to wear plaid shirts.
Like Al Borland.
Yeah, and we're going to go, I don't think so, Tim. That's going to be our slogan.
Mine will be more Alf, and I'll dress like Alf.
Doc is going to be Team Morale, which is mushroom based, and I don't know why, but he always does things slightly weird. All right, so that's it. So trivia's coming. It's going to be the last week of February. So go ahead and mark it on your calendar. It's the normal time and date. It's the Monday. But more importantly than that,
Put an
look for the
actual
sign up
number
in
on that
Slack.
day.
Look for the sign up in Slack.
26th.
Join a team and then join us on the 26th, which I was about to say and had on the top of my head the entire time. That's like
Didn't need to look
Like
at
a-
a calendar. Or
like a
anything.
pro.
I wasn't looking it up. All right, go ahead. You can close this out now, Andrew.
All right. I think that's going to be it for this episode. I'm Al Borland.
I'm Alf.
I'm Patrick.
Peace out.
Adios.
Bye. I should have said I'm not playing along. I'm not playing along. That's it. That's awesome.
And I can add it in there like you thought of it the whole time.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness. Okay,
Oh.
bye for a second. I'm going to find a couple
Que
pictures.
grande me.
In the
what's the phrase?
What?
What?
Que
cosa
grande
me
me
grande
dos amigo.
coño.
Okay.
Que cosa me grande coño. All right, hang on.
What is that from?
It's Becca. I don't know. She just says it.
Okay. I was like, should I know this? My headphones are driving me nuts. I know I've messed with them all night, but I just got new headphones and they're like too tight and they keep like just crunching my head basically.
No,
I need
it's
to, like stretch them
I
out.
get I think it means what the big man is my friend. The guy in front of me, not so when I was in the jury thing, I was sitting at the front row, right? But when we came back in at the end for the selection, you could like sit wherever you want to or whatever. Guy in front of me, pretty confident he had a permanent divot in his head, and my guess is headphones. He was bald. He was bald, and where
right
this
there?
is, he just had like an arch, like all the way through. I'm thinking headphones. That's what I'm thinking.
There's just gonna be like a weird thing that probably happens like in the future where like there's like a study done of like people who like wear noise canceling headphones do go bald like in that spot, you know, like and like they'll have to
Or
like,
permanently alter their like head structure. I'm just
yeah, I definitely
telling
feel
you,
like
the
I'm
dude
like
had a divot,
pressing my
for
head
sure.
right now.
For sure. There's a
I
video of
definitely
Tim the
have a headache.
Tap Man, who's a streamer, where he takes off his headphones and just realizes he has a divot in his head from his headphones. I don't know,
Gosh.
but it's him like kind of freaking out about it. Love it. All right, Andrew, what do we find?
Okay,
Let's
I
make you
got to
big.
sort through a couple of these things.
Pictures.
Full screen.
Besides pictures, I'm going to show.
Oh, I'm gonna put some music. Can I put some music on?
Yeah, you can. Besides pictures, I do have some cool stuff to show. First is, look at this. May 15th, 1994. This is a
Oh,
Magic
wow.
Kingdom one-day park ticket.
That's awesome.
You know that's still good if it hasn't been used yet.
It's been used.
Oh, it's not good anymore.
It has the price somewhere around here.
That's awesome. It has the date.
No, not this one. Okay, hang on. Where are these other ones? Hang on. Here's a report card.
Excuse me.
Here's a report card and the note on it. Nope,
There
this
was a
isn't the one with
news
the note.
article from last week. Oh yeah, a guy got into Disneyland. This article's from February 6th with a 46-year-old ticket.
Yeah, that's awesome. Check this out. This is my school. This is my school. This is my school report card.
Yeah.
And this is the note from the teacher. Andrew is very irresponsible at returning books, homework, and other materials. He does not hold himself responsible for this, but blames others and circumstances.
What a jerk. What a jerk.
And then follow up writing underneath it, report number 2, Andrew can, underlined, behave, and, be underlined, produce quality work when he chooses to.
But he's a little shit.
But he is just terrible.
She was coming for you. Holy cow.
Yeah. This
Do you remember this teacher? Like, did you get along with this teacher?
I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of
like,
stuff.
it'd be
I had
really funny
childhood
if you
trauma,
remembered
and
her.
So I legitimately don't remember much about my childhood.
You sure?
Oh, that's not funny.
Yeah, I was like,
These are some of the first. Drawings I
so
did
cute.
of Looney Tunes and Space Jam. You remember these characters from Space Jam, the Monstars?
Yeah, yeah.
Here's a
It's so
Taz.
funny because a lot of mine like this, they're all like Dragon Ball Z and stuff.
It's funny to be able to see these now and like know that I've done like official stuff with like Warner Brothers.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Look at that. There's all the Monstar guys from
really
the
good.
original Space Jam. Okay, hang on. That's not what we're talking about right now, though. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, where is it? Because I'm leaving after this. This is the only thing keeping me here, is seeing your little fat self in a glitter.
I don't know if I have exactly that one. I'm just going to show you a picture
Okay.
from that time,
Okay.
from that era.
In a cummerbund.
Oh, you will like this, Patrick. You remember the, you know that Mickey that I have? That's the astronaut Mickey signed by Jim Irwin,
Yeah.
the astronaut. This is the photo that coincided with it.
Look at
It's
that.
signed, like it says, his love from the moon. Jim Irwin.
I went to the moon.
Astronaut Irwin salutes the flag on Apollo 15. He's actually been on the moon. So that goes with that.
Did anybody
hang
here
on.
watch Little Britain? Anybody? No? Okay, no worries.
Where the heck is it? Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh. All right, so this is what I looked like when I was little.
I'm so excited.
This was us at a Disney event.
Ah, oh my gosh, you guys are so
What are you talking about? You're
cute.
adorable.
I
Yeah,
know.
look at your
hey,
little bowl
this
cut.
is pre-second grade. Everybody, this is pre-second grade.
Then
Oh my
what
gosh,
happened?
you guys are so cute.
And then, I think this is second grade or maybe third grade.
My friends used to always
You're
say
like
that to
a
me in
year
high
later.
school.
Yeah, legitimately, like this is probably kindergarten. So like this is like a couple years later.
Okay.
This is.
That's
Oh,
the
so
Andrew I know.
Look at that shirt.
I love your shirt. Yeah, I was gonna say fashion alert.
Brother.
That shirt is.
That is a
bonkers.
drastic
That is so much
change.
like the clothes my mom picked for me also, but I really like that shirt now. I would totally wear it.
Isn't it a drastic change, Patrick? Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yes.
I have enough for everyone.
You
So
Yay.
look like
I'll put
what's
it up
the
walls
comedian
are too
actor's
empty
name
anyway.
with the gap in his tooth, like funny sounding voice, red hair.
Louis the
Louis Armstrong.
no, it's but it's Louis Anderson,
Louis
right? Is that who you're talking
Anderson.
about? I was like, I was getting there.
Yeah,
It does look like Louis Anderson. Oh my
yeah,
word. Okay.
it does.
Okay, so hang on. 3 more pictures. One is gonna be
Jedi says it looks like you stole Sally's clothes from Nightmare Before Christmas.
fair.
Maybe that's why
fair.
I like it so much.
Just as a quick aside, this is my sister. She, remember, I don't know if I told this publicly, but I won most photogenic baby. That award is right here. My mom
cute.
saved that award.
Did
I have it
Gerber
right here.
send it to you?
What?
Did Gerber send it to you? Is that where you got it from?
I don't know. Maybe I was the Gerber baby. But here's, so you saw how photogenic I was, right?
Yeah.
This is her. She's just so angry.
Just sad.
And
Just
the
sad.
photo's ripped, which feels even
I was like,
more.
there's
It
what
looks
is it,
like she did
effects
it.
behind her, or whatever. Like there's like kind of sparkles or like.
It feels like she ripped the photo. That's
It
what
does.
It feels
It feels like she ripped.
It feels
the
like there's a story behind
Okay.
that photo. Is how
There's
I
a story
feel.
behind every photo.
I know I'm bad with names, but I'm glad that my descriptions are at least good enough that people know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair. Okay, these are the last 2 pictures. So it went from, just as a reminder, went from this cute little guy,
yeah.
adorable,
Great hair.
You're cute in
Adorable.
both these pictures.
to
Louis
very
Anderson.
loud shirt. And then this was me in early high school. Ah!
The hair, brother.
Wow.
I love the. Okay, listen. I
think
love
it's
the
also like
necklace and that
you guys
necklace.
you look like Cooper so much.
Oh, as a frame of reference, this for whatever reason my mom had not. Reason my mom also had this photo. This is
That's
when
adorable.
He's little. That's me.
I would
Wow.
have
then
hung out
here's-
with you in high school. Like I get that. And the necklace is amazing, but the hair.
Yeah. And then finally, this is my senior picture, and we were talking about this the other day with somebody, but about like Liberty
pictures.
spikes and blonde tips and everything.
Wow.
So there you go.
I hated my senior pictures so much. My mom
I
really
just-
was like, "You got to do something like artistic," and like kept like really wanted like had this vision that I did not agree with.
Show
Like-
that picture again. Show that picture again.
My senior picture.
Yeah. It's amazing
It's
how much
amazing.
that photo sums up also like the time period I was in high
I was
school.
thinking that, yeah, like it's just a time capsule.
I feel
It's
like I knew you. I feel like we went to the same high school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is of a certain time.
Yeah.
the hair, yeah, instantly.
Anyway, well there we go.
That was
There's
amazing. Thank you for sharing those.
There's
I'll
the
do that
little
next
walk
to
down
mine.
memory lane, and it is important to know that I can do great things if I choose to.
Just remember what your teacher told you.
It's really good to know that it is possible. Don't lose faith in me. Okay.
You look
okay.
better now.
I appreciate that. Like, it is nice when I look at some of the other people I hang out with. I'm not going to name any names, but my friend Adam Kane, who you've met, he's just so handsome that I want to punch it. He has a very punchable
Oh,
face.
I thought you were going to
I
say
thought this was going the
he
other
looks
way. where
way
you were gonna
worse
call your
now than he
friends
did when he
ugly.
was in
No.
high school.
But when I look at him versus me now, I feel terrible about myself. But when
That's
I look
so
at me
funny.
then and look at me now, I go, oh, okay, I'm all right.
Let me ask
Like,
you a question.
This has been an up and up.
From a social class standpoint, would Adam Kane have beat you up in high school?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was not a fighter. I was a theater kid, and he kind of was. Yeah, he would have. Yeah, he would have.
I think it's important that we define all of our social dynamics and we start respecting them in the community. So I don't know.
Who's gonna win in a fight? Like,
What's good is the three of us were all losers in high school, so we can still hang out with each other.
Yeah,
Lauren's gonna be in the corner drawing on her Vans or whatever.
yeah, she is.
I
In her
used to
jeans.
draw on my sweatshirts. No
Yep.
lie.
Okay, so before we get out of here, I do have to show you one more thing. I
I had
gotta
like
find
all the
this
sleeves had like stuff on it.
VHS.
Because everybody else drew on their shoes.
Sure. Oh, that was even too
So
cool.
mine was different.
or too mainstream. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
found the exact. I found the.
It's funny because I would still
exact
do that now.
thing. This is what we would rewind our V. Let me see if there's a better photo of it. This one's good. Okay, this is what we would rewind our VHS on. Share my screen. Oops, wrong thing. Sorry.
You're doing
Okay.
great though.
You want? Well, you want to know what it's doing, Patrick?
What's it doing?
Because
Freezing.
it's making me give all the permissions again.
Oh, I see. That's my fault. That's my fault. Yeah, I get that.
It's making me quit and reopen. No, I'm gonna send you the link. Someone else who already has access.
Yeah,
to
or
this.
just, or can you just post it in chat and then we can open it on our own?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I meant in the
Oh, I meant
like everyone chat.
that we can actually share it on the feed.
Yeah. Okay. Let me open
Yes,
it
we
up.
can
Oh
do
my
that.
gosh, this is so cool.
Gosh. All right.
And then scrub through the pictures too. I'll put it in the main chat as well.
Okay. Here we go. This is it. Here.
I love this.
Should I? Can I? Oh, I can't just make. There we go. That's what I'm trying to do.
There we go.
All right. Here we go.
I love this.
You see
Mine was
that?
just
It's
a square.
I was right. It's a '57 Chevy. Wow.
Is it a 57? Let's
not
see.
for
I
this.
like
nothing,
that
I'm impressed.
the button
impressed
is the
with myself.
license plate.
It is a 57. Yes.
Yeah, it's a '57 Chevy.
Just so you know, my dad had a.
What did you
Yeah.
press to rewind it?
He had two
Like-
of these 57s. So you just hit this back button right here. That's a joke.
That is fun.
There
That's
it
it,
is
man.
there.
That was it. That's
That's
how we would
awesome.
rewind our VHS. when I
That's
was
Wait,
growing
yeah,
up.
what's the button? Where is there a button?
Go back.
Oh,
It's
there,
the,
yeah. It's the license plate.
It's the
yeah,
license plate. The license plate is the button.
to open it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
Yep.
And then, I guess that's power cord.
Yep, that's where the AC adapter.
Did it
would go.
light up? Did anything light up?
Did the lights light up? Go back to see if the lights lit up. I think
I remember
feel like it
ours
did.
just had like a power light. But
No,
other
I
than
do.
That,
Yeah,
like,
the
not
lights.
actually anything.
The lights would light up when it was rewinding. Absolutely,
oh,
it did.
love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
If my sister's listening to this right now,
She's commenting, I think.
okay, she remembers this probably very well as well. So, yeah, you just pulled the hood down and it popped up when it was done.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Okay.
You
I think
can
ours
afford
we like
the
close it and then you
classic-
hit a button.
That's rough, Kreider.
I know
is
that was
rough.
good though. That was a good joke.
I had a Pinto that I would have to put my VHSs in.
And the floorboard was rusted out on it, so when you'd put the
I get it,
VHS, it
man.
would just fall through to the bottom.
Like a
My
Flintstones
sister,
car.
my oldest sister, not the sister who's talking right now, she did have a Geo Metro, probably an 85 Geo
I'm
Metro or
sorry.
something like that, and the floorboards did rust out of it, so you could see the road through it.
This
Oh,
is
that's
not
terrifying.
a judgment on
need first
anyone
cutters.
or any industry.
Here we go.
But when I hear Geo Metro, I think Domino's delivery driver. I just
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
I feel like proportionally, that's
Probably
what that
to this
car
day.
is most used for. Yeah, that's just why I see it in my mind. So
My sister said that my mom and dad had his and her Pintos. Wow.
yeah,
My dad.
Yeah.
sold
Remember that
cars, so
day
we
when
would
you
have
could-
different cars a lot.
that year you could work for the summer and then buy his and her cars. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that day's gone, everybody.
I
So-
do kind of feel like this episode has turned into like my background. So next week, Patrick, you need to get your mom on here, actually chatting, not just texting us, chatting on here and telling us what was up with you. And
She
you
will
need to
spend
show
the
pictures.
whole week digging up the most
My mom would
Good.
legitimately
embarrassing
like
photos possible.
love to do the podcast, and it would be so funny.
Great, guys.
She's like, I
we
want to
have-
meet them so badly because she's never like met you guys in person. It's so funny. Like,
we have laid this out, and like I've done my part. I've done my due diligence, and now it's up to you
That's
guys
true.
to continue
That's
this
true.
thread.
All right.
Okay, let's get out of here. This is the latest we've gone in a long time, and honestly, I'm sick of looking at you people. So,
Yeah, but I don't have to
I'm
go
hungry.
to jury in the morning.
whack, whack, whack. Hey everybody, we're gonna see you next week. You're so fantastic. Sign up for trivia.